All right, let's check out what happened with PayPal. What a reversal. Oh man, that's just amazing. Where would we have noticed the reversal? Why? Well, on the higher time charts, it's still bullish, isn't it? 15-minute chart over here shows all the moving averages expanding and going upward. 5-minute chart, same thing, except for this dip. But the bottom three are expanding and moving upward. Big explosion on the 60-minute chart. Nothing holding it down. Can't see anything. Till we get to the weekly chart over here, we have this 8 moving average. And on the daily chart, we do notice a pivot from a while back. Right over here. And that hitting the pivot, and the 8 is trouble, and it dipped way down. Even possible shorting right here on the descending triangle. We were talking about that in the last video. It didn't look like it had far to go down for the bottom of the day and the moving averages, and so I didn't like it. Wasn't expecting it to go that deep. There were some opportunities when it pulled back to the moving averages, absolutely. But I'm more interested in the turnaround. And it is cranking back up all the way to that same trouble spot on the daily and weekly charts. It's going to have to push through those if it's going to go back over this giant red candle on the weekly chart at some point, closing the gap on the daily chart, which is my target, really. That is my target for my swing trades. Day trading this would have been very interesting, but the primary spot I want to focus on is when price closes above the 8, the 20, and the 50. And that's that area right there. Above the 202, might I add, which has always been going up. But that's a deep pullback for a 2-minute chart. Price even closed below the 8, the 20, and the 50 on the 5-minute chart. So that would have been very hard not to continue bearish. It closed below the moving averages on the 15-minute chart even, and it was headed towards the 50. And then suddenly it reverses right here. Going back up with your bad self and your momentum. Okay. I was starting to think that if I sold at the top around $67, I could have bought back around $65. That's a $2 drop almost. $65.30, I could have bought that. Seems like I'd want more than $2 on any particular move or adjustment. Perhaps $5 would be better for this particular stock and price. So I'd have probably just stayed in this range. I haven't done a graph like I did with NVIDIA here. I know exactly where I'm supposed to be buying and selling. And if I get in a little early on it, like at 435.75, I'll have to hold that second piece, 435.75 right here. If I don't wait for the target and I go early like I did today on just a fraction, then if my target is to be realized, then I'll have to wait for the back half of that to go above the original target. If I bought below the original target for amount, then I'll have to go above it to equal this price that I was really shooting for. So I think that that's something I'll put some effort towards, just to make sure that I hit that original target by splitting up this target into 2 different pieces. One was below and one will be above the original target. That'll give me the average of the original target, so we'll solve that problem. A good thing about going early is it may not go to your target, and you can always at least make something on this scalp. If it were to drop down so drastically, you can buy back that share at a lower price. So there's some benefit to that too. So we sold right here, and it did drop, but not enough to really go back into that same piece. It's got to be worth it. There's a certain percentage it's got to drop. So our target's still up here. We sold a little bit early, and we are going to save the other part of this target up higher because we did sell early. We want to go longer than the original target. Hope that makes sense. What's NVIDIA doing? Sideways. Or look at PayPal go. It's fascinating to watch this. I mean, because you got to really pay attention to what is happening on the weekly and the daily. And just really all these time charts all the way through give us a picture of what's really going on. But anyway, once it climbs up to the 50, the 8, the 20, and the 50, just like when it broke down below those, which was really right here in this last circle before the drop, you could see price finally closing below all. Well, it had been this whole bottom area while it's continuing to drift down. And then it broke. And the next time it closed above those, it went this way. And I really think it's a positive. It's not a perfect indicator, but it is something to get me focused on and prepared to look for other things and to potentially get into a trade. I don't like to go long unless you're trading contrarily, catching absolute peaks and drops, and your strategy is that. This is another alternative way to trade, just with the moving averages. But they're not perfect. But neither is buying at any other kind of strategy perfect. So these are just giving me an indication of what might happen. I'm not even saying that I always trade when that happens, but when it does, my ears perk up and my eyes zoom in and pay more closely attention.